avoiding the work takes more energy than doing the work. When it comes to true confidence, the kind that no one can take away from you, you have to do hard things. Confidence is not looking really good or being loved by a lot of people, because that's all external validation. And if you're relying on looking perfect or being loved by a lot of people to feel confident, the problem with that is that it's never going to be enough. True, lasting, unshakable confidence comes from within, and it comes from doing hard things. And right now, I feel that a lot of people are looking for the easiest way. Even if you look at the ads, I'm constantly being bombarded with ads, just these 3 easy steps, this one easy step to $1 million. It's never really that. And I think if you take enough of these courses and read enough of these ebooks, you'll see that at some point, you're going to have to leave your comfort zone. The only way out to this true, unshakable confidence is to do hard things. Now, that does not mean that you need to suffer and struggle, because I don't want you to look for the easiest way. I want you to look for the most aligned way. And there's a big difference there. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting things to be easy. Actually, a big part of growth mindset is looking for shortcuts and being as efficient as possible. I feel that. I'm always looking for the most efficient way to do things. But that doesn't mean that it's easy, because a lot of things in life that I've accomplished that I'm most proud of were not easy. If everything was easy, there would be no journey, there would be no humanness. So rather than looking for the easiest way, look for the most aligned way. I can give you some examples. So some of the hardest things that I've done in my life, let's talk about those. 1, getting my master's. That was really hard. I passed all of my classes from the first try, and then when I went to submit my dissertation proposal, I failed it because I had really no experience in academic writing, and they didn't give us an advisor until after the proposal was submitted. So I made a bunch of mistakes. It was totally uninspired because at the time, this was in like 2015, 2016, I was not an inspired individual. I had gotten to a point in my life where I realized I checked all the boxes and I'm still not really sure who I am. And my dissertation proposal reflected that, because when you are in that spot where you're not inspired, everything is going to reflect that. Your world is just a big mirror of what's going on inside of you. So that was really scary to me because I only had one more chance to submit the proposal. I did it. I got it done. It took me, I wrote a 75-page paper on meditation in the workplace, and I ended up passing with flying colors. And the day that I received my results, I will never forget it. I was laying in bed with my dog in my studio apartment in Miami, and I started just sobbing, I remember this moment so well. It was one of the most memorable moments of my life. At the time, I was working my corporate job. I texted my manager and I was like, I'm going to be late because I need to tell everybody that I passed and I have my master's. That was really exciting. That was really hard, and it was really aligned because I love psychology. I didn't decide on my master's for a few years. I was working for a few years before I picked what I was going to study. And I started discovering within myself that I love psychology. I love understanding how people work. I love being able to make sense of my world using these concepts. And that was actually the start of my coaching career. I didn't know it at the time. So that's a great segue, actually, which, by the way, this whole video is unscripted because I've been wanting to start this YouTube channel for a while, and I started scripting it. And then when I was scripting it, I looked back on it and I looked like a version of myself trying to be myself. So here I am, just unscripted with nothing but the concept and the message that I want to share with you today. So I changed careers in 2019, actually right before the pandemic. I left my corporate job to start my coaching business. And I had zero entrepreneurial experience. I thought because I had almost 8 years of corporate experience that it would be a seamless transition. I was wrong. That was one of the hardest things I've done in my life. It's been 4 years. I've been working for myself, creating my own business. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever done, is to leave a really secure job. I was working in insurance. The company had gone through so many changes. They always made sure that the employees kept their jobs. I had great benefits. I felt really blessed. And also, I felt really stuck. I didn't feel like I was living my fullest expression. And I didn't have to leave my job for that. I could have just done things outside of work. But I had this inner feeling that I wanted to try something different. And I honored that. So I left and I went from 6 figures to 0. I did have savings, but I committed to not touching the savings as much as possible. I removed all of my expenses. I stopped getting my nails done. I stopped shopping. I even stopped getting my hair done. And I cut down everything to just my car payment and my rent payment and groceries. And I didn't know what I was doing. So I hired a sales and marketing coach. And with this newfound time freedom, I decided to take a DJ lesson because I met a girl in my building who was transitioning from being a DJ to teaching DJing. She was tired of doing gigs all the time. And I was one of her first students. I took a few lessons from her and I started DJing on Instagram during the pandemic. And then when Miami started to open up, I started getting booked professionally. All of this was insane. Not knowing where my income was going to come from, not having anyone else to rely on. I know I can always come home to my parents, but I refused to take a cent from them. Not that they were really offering it. They were also really worried about me, but they were like, she's got to figure this out on her own. And it was not easy, but it was so aligned because I felt so inspired by creating my own business, working with people. I got my first few clients and I was really loving what I was doing. So it was really hard, but within the year or maybe a year and a half, between coaching and DJing, I matched my corporate salary. And I can't explain to you the feeling of knowing that I can figure it out. Because confidence is not about knowing everything, having all of the answers. It's about self-trust. When you have confidence in someone, you trust them, right? So self-confidence is about being able to trust yourself. So now I look back on the last few years at how much I've figured out, at how much I was out of my comfort zone. I got my first professional DJ gig within 2 months of my first DJ lesson. I brought my equipment. That was, by the way, the only time I really dipped into my savings was to buy DJ equipment for I think it was $2,000 at the time, which was completely wild. A very seemingly irrational decision, but a very intuitive one nonetheless. And thinking back on all those moments when I found the resources to learn, I was able to hire a coach. Actually, that was the other time I dipped into the savings and I hired the coach. All of that came from alignment because it wasn't easy, but I knew that I was moving in the direction of my greatest potential and my purpose. So it was not easy, but it was in alignment. And the experiences, the life experiences that I've had over the last 4 years, DJing has allowed me to travel. I played in Greece, I played in Vegas, all over Miami, in New York. Coaching has been such a blessing. Being able to work with people from all over the world and to help them and guide them, and now having a community, a global community that meets every single week, it brings me so much joy. Now I'm in the process of starting this YouTube channel, which is really hard for me personally, because Instagram was starting to feel really curated, and I felt like it was really hard for me to get my personality out. So I realized it's time for a change. I've been on Instagram for 7 years, probably more now, and it was time for a change. So here I am learning how to edit videos, even though this will be minimally edited intentionally. Learning how to use my voice. The last couple of months, I've been doing workshops all around Miami, sharing EFT tapping, sharing the Romanticize Your Life journal, which is a brand new e-commerce product that I have with my partner, and practicing using my voice because I got really comfortable writing Instagram captions, and I love to write. I'm a writer at heart. But who's to say I'm not also a speaker, right? So direction is more important than speed. And that's how I see everything that I do. I ask myself, is this aligned with what I love and who I want to be? So my question today for you is, what is the work that you're avoiding? And instead of looking for an easier way and postponing the work, what might happen if you just sit down and you do the work? To help you with that, I want you to harness the power of the subconscious mind. Because if you are not moving forward with something, it's typically for one of 3 reasons. Either that you don't feel that it's safe for you to do. For example, if you haven't been putting yourself in front of the camera, a lot of people have a fear of being seen because once you put yourself out there, people will see you and they will judge you. You will inspire a lot of people, and also a lot of people will judge you. And for a lot of people, that's a scary thought. For me, I've really deeply understood that anyone who is judging is really only judging themselves. I'm a huge fan of the 4 agreements. I would say beyond fan. That's how I live my life. Don't take anything personally. Be impeccable with your word. Anyone who is judging you is really judging themselves on some level. So I'm not really too worried about that. So maybe you think it's not safe. Or maybe you think it's not possible. Maybe you have this idea that this person that you admire and this person that you admire, it's possible for them because they have some special quality about them or life situation about them, and that it's simply not possible for you. And you might not even think this consciously. This might be a subconscious thought because maybe someone told you that your idea is unrealistic and you've absorbed that and now you're holding on to it. So it's possible that you're not moving forward because you don't think it's possible for yourself. And finally, you might not feel that you're worthy of it. You might not feel that your message is meaningful and that other people will benefit from it, or that your art is not good enough, or that you're not worthy of having the body that you want, or the relationship that you want, or the career that you want. This applies to everything. So what I recommend for you to do is to really go in, ask yourself these questions. Once you have some clarity, I'm going to recommend you to do some EFT tapping, Because what EFT tapping does is it allows you to bring up whatever the belief is that has been holding you back and reprogram it on a subconscious level. It calms your nervous system so you can get out of that fight or flight mode where you're in survival and you're making decisions from a place of fear, to calm down and to come from a place of love, of self-love and clarity. And then have the peace of mind and heart that even if you do feel some fear, which is normal because it's also excitement, that you're able to still go ahead and move forward. There's a Russian expression that I love, and if you know me personally, you know I'm always sharing these Russian expressions. I get this from my mom. She has so many. I'm already 32 and she's still telling me new ones. I would think that I've already heard them all. But the expression is "Глаза боятся, руки делают." And what that means is your eyes are scared and your hands are doing. That's the exact translation. What that means is that you might have some fear, but you're still moving forward at all costs. And what I'll add to that is to make sure that you are moving in the right direction. So you might not be doing the easiest thing, but you're doing the thing that's most in alignment. Because what I've learned over the years in studying neuroplasticity is that we get dopamine not when we one day wake up and we've hit our goal, which, by the way, I've also heard that it takes 10 years to have an overnight success. Keep that in mind as you're moving towards your goal and feeling like you're behind. Maybe your success comes in 30 days. That's amazing. I've seen this happen a lot too. We have so many opportunities that if you can clear your subconscious and just move forward with the utmost clarity, you can have results really fast. But I think that's also speaking to the fact that consistency is really important. Showing up time over time. And even if you have great success in 30 days, then imagine what can happen in 10 years if you don't stop, if you keep going. Because a lot of times when people have quick success, sometimes they're not even really ready for the consequences of that. So wherever you are, whatever phase that you're in, be mindful of your direction, because direction is more important than speed. And as I was saying, you get dopamine hits as you're working towards your goal. So say you're trying to lose weight and you have a goal of 40 pounds to lose, but you have this awesome workout and maybe you just lost 2 pounds and you feel so good. You feel so good as if you are already 40 pounds down because you are happy to be on your path and working towards your goal. So do that work. Figure out what that work is. And you don't have to have a whole 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. Most people don't. When someone asks me, what's your 5-year plan? I have an idea, but we never know where it's going to come from. And sometimes having this big, grand plan can also be quite overwhelming. So just take the first step. Make that first video. Go to that first workout class. Go on that date. Direction is more important than speed. And avoiding the work takes more energy than doing the work. And that's all I have for you today. Sending you so much love, and I'll see you in the next video.